Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, traders. Welcome to another week, Monday the 13th. And, well, today I expect it to be fairly quiet because we have CPI tomorrow, which is a very, very big deal. But let's go look at the chart, see if they did anything interesting over the weekend. So here is ES. And last week was just terrible. They were down pretty much every day here. Now, in the overnight, they're trying to make a little bit of recovery, especially here, since like London, everything's been open. So now in the Treasury, interestingly enough, they were actually kind of a little bit, well, let it back up here. Remember, there was this auction. This auction was super crazy. But then after that, on Friday, like, they gave it all up. And, like, fairly late in the session, I mean, after we were done, at least, the Treasury just came all the way back. So, you can see it, especially here in the 30-year, right? Okay. But the flattener did not really change. Okay, so... well, it's really this one, right? This flattens, didn't revert, okay? So, I'm a little skeptical about what's going on, but the CPI, we'll find out what's going on there, okay? Oil recovering from that big dump that China did on them the other day, so it's good. Gold and silver, not looking so hot right now, but haven't really moved from Friday, so, I don't know, still within the range, I guess. Doesn't I wouldn't say that that's particularly good looking, but I don't know. Copper's doing pretty well past few days. We'll come out here, we'll look at the currencies a little bit. The dollar, oh no, wait, that's not what we want. The dollar continues to be fairly strong. Bitcoin, well, still kind of drifting sideways after that huge jump a few days ago. Ethereum looking a little scary, actually. Just saying. Looks a little scary, actually. So that's where we're at. But again, I expect things to be relatively mild. So we'll see. Now, here's the thing. I did update my my little scripts the other day. So, if Win posts something with the $sign at the beginning of it, it should read it to me automatically. So you should try it. Yeah, let's turn on the robot. We'll trade that robot today. We'll trade him. I made a few changes to him, so he should be trying to like swing this back and forth. So we'll see what he does. It should, with the way that I have it set up, it's not like the final way that I want to have him do it, but should, okay. Hold up. It did do the thing that I wanted rather. Is chat sponsor, is channel chat moderator, is true. But it is not reading it. Hold on a second.
Winston's mom says yes.
So I might have to close, yeah, okay. Then have to close it like that, and we're going to work on it a little bit. Is there something wrong with me? I feel sick. Like I had a very difficult time eating, and I did not eat as much as I want, even though I felt like I woke up really, really hungry. Okay, so it should be reading her out, but maybe I've got her name down in there wrong. Oh, wait, hold up. Back and app. Edit. Let's see here. Have you been exposed to anybody? No, I don't think it's a Delta variant. Maybe a little bit of a runny nose. Hello, AO. Right in early today. Okay. Node app.js. Okay, so try saying something again. Oh no, wait, you don't need to say anything. Never mind. Oh. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I know why it wasn't working. Paste it. Now I've got you over here. I'm just going to delete that link so it doesn't screw up my log. Over here, close it, restart it. Might read a bunch of stuff here. Hold on. Okay, now try it, Win. Found a channel live streaming as he walks to Nashville, huh? Uzi has air conditioning again? Good deal. You should be able to do it too, Uzi. So if you put a $sign in front of your message, can you elaborate on what you're doing and why? I want to get into day trading, but I don't know the process. Okay, Luke. So, how should we put this? My philosophy. It doesn't seem like it's working. Hold on. I don't know. Let's answer this guy's question first, and then we'll kind of try and figure out what's wrong. Because it should be reading it out to me. I mean, it will read if I click it, right?
Uzi Knesset says I like chicken wings.
You should definitely be rolled over, Ace. Although it's still a little light this morning. By the way, you're up super early. Welcome. Okay, so when I'm trading, the way that I go about it is this. The market is very there's this concept that's been around for over 100 years now called the efficient market hypothesis. I think it's been over 100 years anyways, which suggests that the current market price reflects all currently available information. And a lot of people kind of go in and say, well, that's mostly the case except for there's trends or whatever. And so a lot of people are just trying to take advantage of trends. But what we have discovered is that the market tends to be very statistically efficient, but not informationally efficient, which means that if I go in and I try to say every time that we cross the moving average, I switch, and that's my or every time the RSI gets overbought or oversold, I buy and sell. You go and you backtest that, and you will find that on a risk-adjusted basis, that those trades all come out break even. So essentially, because when you start taking a trade, it moves the market. You essentially arbitrage out those inefficiencies out of the market until they just don't exist anymore. And so the market becomes very statistically efficient. But the market is not informationally efficient, which means there could be a piece of information out there that suggests that the price of a commodity should be a certain amount. And because some large fund out there is rebalancing their portfolio, the market moved up when really it should be going down because of the noise. And these orders have a very large impact on prices, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, the prices that you get may not be reliable, right? So we're looking for situations where we know that there is an inefficiency and that something will happen to bring things back in line. Why is the dog barking out there? Probably because I left that light on. Hold on a second. Anyways, so that's kind of the overarching idea. And then what you get is we have a depth of market up here. And what we're doing is we're watching the orders coming in, and we're watching the interactions between those orders and the liquidity that is out there. So liquidity meaning these are limit orders, blue column limit buy, red column limit sell orders. And these two center columns are the market buy and sell orders, right? And we're watching the interactions between this liquidity to kind of get an idea of what the current orders are doing, because the current orders are going to be what moves price, right? Okay, so pretty sure that what's happening here gonna have to probably just gonna put in a debug line in here. Let's see your console.log people that includes data. Move it over here so you can see. Can you get a same setup like yours? Yeah, you can. Well, I mean, so I'm using Jigsaw Day Trader primarily, and that's how you get the screen like mine. But I also use NinjaTrader. And that chart that you see up on the left is the synthetic dollar index, which if you go, is a part of my indicator package that I've got. So like if you're subscribed to the channel, $5 a month, then you get access to the indicator package. Do I need a semicolon? Oh, I need another parentheses. Save. Okay. Says YouTube ready. Is it gonna? Okay. But it did not, interestingly enough. Okay, so now we'll have Win or Uzi try it. I only have it set up. I have people in a name whitelist right now. So I'm going to change it so that everybody that's a subscriber can do it. But You know what? It does not use the same pathway that I thought it did. Receive event. Send message. That must only work when I do it. So put it in here. Try that. Aha, there we go. But it is saying false every time. See right there? Wait. That doesn't make any sense at all. Oh, no. I put it in here. Console log. Yeah, okay. So it is reading. It is saying it is checking the user because you put the $sign in the front. But it is saying that your username does not match what I have up here. I guess I should add myself into the list so that I can test it. David Velke says it will dump like Friday is my guess. I don't know. Again, I'm not necessarily expecting a whole lot today. So here I should get the new message. Test. It says false. It says I'm not in the list. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. I think I might know why. Coming back into here. If data dot, okay, and check user data dot author details dot display name. This is where JavaScript is really lame. It's that any other language that would throw an error, but Java's like, oh yeah, you can totally try and do that comparison with a variable. Excuse me, with a variable that doesn't exist. Oh man, I'm kind of getting like a cold sweat now Okay, so this might read a bunch of crap. Do you make money from just trading? Sometimes. I certainly wouldn't say that it's consistent. Right? It's a very, very difficult. Cannot read property replace of undefined. Oh, you have to pass the data into it. Oh, no, I do. But it's expecting something different, huh? Message and username, yeah. Okay. Copy. Data dot snippet dot display message. Oh, data dot author details, rather author details dot display name. Data dot snippet dot display message. Now, somewhere in here, I pull off. Oh, maybe I do that in the chat bit. Okay. So I'm kind of getting a little cold swag. Yeah. Okay. They already got two. Well, I guess maybe it's possible.
Uzi Knesset says I like chicken wings.
Winston's mom says hi at AO.
Uzi Knesset says poop.
Winston's mom says question, is this the best trading channel ever? Winston's mom says ROFL at Uzi Knesset likes chicken wings. With hot sauce or honey barbecue? Winston's mom says traders gonna trade, and if you trade then you need at speculators at day trading, as traders gonna trade mux. Winston's mom says who is the best trader in YouTube town? At speculators at day trading. That's who. Winston's mom says 1K invested in Solana in January 2021 worth $138 today. FTM ROA follows. Winston's mom says yes.
There, maybe a little bit more oatmeal in me will make me feel a little better. Okay, so try it again, Win. Try it just talking regular, and then try it with the $sign in front.
Winston's mom says good morning, at Caleb.
Good, and now try just a regular message. I should try it myself. It doesn't work because my username is that.
Uzi Knesset says pick up your dingle dangle, tie it to your shirt. Don't let your dingle dangle dangle in the dirt.
I think it works. So I only have it. These are the whitelisted people, and it only does it if you put the $ in front of it. So I'm putting that on there because you guys are here regularly, and you will occasionally post messages that we would like to have read out anyways.
Mom says ROFL.
Yeah. So like for when, I would say like your regular messages, don't put the $ in front of them. But like when you're like telling people to hit the like button, right? Now you have a way to force it to read it, right? Pretty good. Yeah. Now I'm going to set it up somehow. I'm going to have to add some more functionality here, but I wanted to make it so that everybody that is subscribed will be able to do it as well. But there needs to be like a limitation on the number of messages that you can send. So I'm going to have to build a little file that tracks it and figure out some way to like reset it every day or something. Or maybe I'll just put a time limit on it. Can do once every 30 minutes.
Knesset says I took a step and quit smoking in my office 4 days ago. No more smoking and trading. Threw away the ashtray and everything.
Winston's mom says good idea. Traders, if you are just now joining us, then please hit the like button. Thanks. This helps the channel and just might make it speculators at day trading feel better this morning.
Man, smoking inside, it gets so gross. It's a good thing that you stop doing that. It's hard because like trading really is really stressful, and yeah, smoking is one way that a lot of people relieve the stress. Back in the day, everyone smoked indoors. I know, right? I remember as a wee baby, not as a wee baby, but like when I was 5, that when you would be sit at a restaurant, they would ask if you wanted smoking or non-smoking. Like, isn't it absolutely crazy that we had smoking and non-smoking sections in restaurants? And even in Utah? Like, what? Good morning, Randy. Okay, so now where were we? Now that we've got that all fixed up. Oh yeah, Caleb. Caleb was arguing with me in one of the threads, trying to figure out, well, if you can't use past information, then what can you use? And I'm trying to figure out a way to help him make the realization himself. But I feel like he doesn't want to make the realization. One step at a time, yeah. I don't know. So when I was a missionary, in order to be baptized, you have to be following the word of wisdom, which is like no tea, coffee, drugs, tobacco, or other harmful drugs. No tea, coffee, tobacco, or other harmful drugs, right? And so if you're smoking, then you have to quit smoking for at least 2 weeks before you can be baptized. So most of our time as missionaries was not spent teaching the lessons. It was spent trying to help people to quit smoking, because a lot of people smoke in Missouri. Oh my gosh, a lot of people smoke in Missouri. And the only thing I never had an investigator. I know the word investigator is like, what? But that's what we called them, right? I never had an investigator quit smoking without doing it cold turkey. So my primary indicator only uses present information. I'm simply arguing that past information can be useful. Well, we don't actually know that. Well, I would set that aside for a second, right? Like, that's the whole thing, is that with the way that carry trades, and as far as I understand, the way that most market makers trade, they're only using current information. Right. Cold turkey is a matter of timing, changing one habit at a time. I haven't smoked in my car for 3 years now, for example. Oh, okay. I wish I had invented tobacco. Well, it's been pretty quiet, but we have had a little bit of a move up in the treasuries since the open, so the idea isn't to quit smoking, it's to disassociate certain activities with smoking. So when you go cold turkey, all those habits will be gone. The last battlefield is the back patio. Oh, interesting. Oh man, it's a back patio. So I went out. This is so dumb. I went to, well, it's not so dumb. It's just, this is something that to me, I think about a lot and matters a lot to me, but you guys might not care about. We'll see. So I work out, and then oftentimes if it's nice in the back, I'll go out and sit in the back. You gotta be careful because there's mosquitoes, man. but sometimes I like to go and sit in the back. And I was like, well, I would really like to be able to listen to music on the back patio like that, right? So I went out to go and get a stereo. I went to Best Buy to go and get a stereo. And there was an LG Studio stereo that had like the stereo and 2 really big speakers and then a dedicated subwoofer unit. And so that's what I went to go and get. And it was like $200. So I went there, tested it out. It sounded okay. It wasn't massive, but it was like, well, if I really turn this up, probably could do pretty good. But then I was looking around, and they also had like the LG portable speaker thing. It was like this giant tower unit with a really huge speaker down at the bottom. And I got thinking about it, and I was like, well, this other thing, it's like 4 little boxes. If I wanted to carry that from the gym to the back porch, that would be a pain in the butt. Whereas this, for basically $100 extra, I can move it around. I can move it from inside to the garage to the back porch and take it with me. We go somewhere. So I decided to get that. And now I'm like second guessing myself. Like, maybe I should go return it and get the other thing and just leave it over by where I work out. Like, I don't know. Because the one issue with this speaker is that it's just one speaker. So there's no stereo, right? Which is kind of a problem, that there's no actual real stereo. Like, I can tell it bothers me. It's not so bad I don't think it would be so bad for listening to music working out, but I don't know. I feel like for almost everything else, I'm just always sitting there like, I need to get another one of these speakers so that I can do it in stereo. 20 hertz to 13 hertz and I'm good. But here's the thing that kills me is that if you actually, a lot of these speakers and stuff that you can go and get, like especially like Bluetooth speakers, they won't actually list the frequency response. They're hiding it. And then when you go and you find it, you find out why. Because there's no sub bass. It doesn't go below 100, which is very, very common actually. I just want it to sound good. I mean, it sounds okay if I'm listening to something in my headphones, or if I'm listening to it on my studio speakers. That really sounds good. If I move the monitors out of the way and let the stereo speakers do what they're supposed to do, yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. But I want the full experience, you know? But I'm realizing what I really want is I just want to hear the stuff in the club, you know? Okay. Caleb said, it's hard for me to believe about market makers. I watched an interview of the CEO of Simplex, for example. He fills option orders and they offset those losses by buying shares. But that doesn't mean that he's going through a price time series data and searching for some sort of pattern in that data to determine whether or not he should do it or not. Right? Like, if there is any kind of incorporation of past data, it's like hyper short term. The whole thing here is that all retail traders rely on technical analysis. You can't prove that it works. There's been so much work on it, and there's a couple. If you go and search SSRN, you'll find a couple of studies that kind of claim that it works, but they almost all either have data snooping problems, or they're like really high time frame. Why are we talking about religion again? It's so funny. You can't handle it. But like, there's this other thing, which is like, you don't necessarily have to have empirical evidence to prove every little thing that you might believe in and act off of. All right, like things like ethics and your life of philosophy, you can't empirically prove that stuff, right? But you still act on it. But technical analysis, it's like it's a theory that you're testing on the real world. You're making predictions off of it, you're making trades off of it. And you would think that with so many people doing it and finding that it doesn't work, that, you know, people would start to question the theory. Like, maybe, yeah, there's a couple of people that have made money and they're using technical analysis, and maybe they're lucky. Maybe the technical analysis has nothing to do with the money that they're making. But like 95% of people fail. Technical analysis is based on the social behavior. No, it's not. I mean, the technical analysis theorists want to believe that is the case, but there is no evidence that the behavior of people results in certain technical patterns in the market. In fact, quite the opposite. When you start to look at behavioral finance, because that is an area of like real study, the things that they have been able to discover with behavioral finance very often directly contradict things that we've learned from that technical analysis people say. Well, the one that bothers me the most, Gary Norton talks about this in his book too, but the one that bothers me the most is that technical analysis traders say that their signals should work just as well for buying as for selling, which is absolute nonsense. The market is completely different when it's selling than when it is buying, and that's very much borne out by the behavioral finance that people remember and are affected by the losses more. And hence it would make perfect sense that you're going to get more volatility when people are losing. But like the whole thing with technical analysis is why do people want to believe it so badly? I mean, are you making hand over fist with technical analysis? Probably not. So what is the attachment to that form of analysis? Are you near the wildfire? It's been way more smoky out there than it is now, and I didn't feel like this. The Bible is the claim, not the evidence. I'm still a little confused why we care about this conversation so much. Technical analysis is like a religion, a crutch that helps people survive uncertainty. I think for many people that's probably true. I think that there's a very wide body of retail traders, ones that probably, even the ones that are making money, that are largely just trying to make money from taking on risk, and they don't actually understand that that's what they're doing. I need to go back and find it, but I remember watching this Futures Trader 71 webinar on Futures.io, and he basically said, well, okay, like, here's technical analysis, but just because it happened before doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. Like, the next trade, it's 50-50, and it can change. So how do you deal with that? Well, if you have like a signal that's truly predictive, that's like the best thing, but I don't necessarily have that. So what's the next best thing? Taking on risk. And so this is why how I size and what is the word, take sequential profits on my trade is a big part of how I make money trading. I was like, yeah, I didn't realize it at the time that he was saying that, but now it like really sticks out to me as like a, I jumped into this conversation, but you're missing the deeper question here. You get what I mean? Why do you care? If somebody says, like, here's the thing is, like, I seem to recall that this started from the perspective of somebody said something about God, and then it was okay, except for that God doesn't actually exist. So, like, my question is, why, knowing that it would lead to a conversation like that, why does your brain even latch on, like, for me, I would think typically it just goes through, right? But it comes up a lot on this channel. So why is it that you care to talk about that particular thing, and you care to put so much effort into that particular thing? See, AO hasn't been paying attention, doesn't know what he's saying about. And A noted, I forget what his name is. It's something backwards, but I forget. Past price gives me an idea how much an asset typically moves given different events, and that lets me size my risk to the range probability. Roughly speaking, then attempting mean reversion. Okay. Does anyone know anyone who was day trading and making this his only job? Well, there's a couple of people in here that have been pretty successful with it. I would say that they have other streams of income, though. So the first thing that I would say is that when most traders start out, their initial thought is, I want to do this for a living and I want to just do nothing but trade. So I need to go and find somebody that does that they just do nothing but trade, and that's how they make their money. And this is a really terrible way of going about it. Because number one, trading is like very unreliable, okay? And you will have, unprofitable periods and so forth. So when you search for this person that claims to be completely making a living off of it, what it actually does is that the person that, surely they exist out there, right? It's just they tend not to want to be bothered. So the person that you find out on the internet that claims to be doing that is usually lying about it, especially if they're quote unquote teaching it, right? Because right away if they're teaching it that it's not their only source of income, right? So I would not recommend searching down that path, right? The most effective way to find useful trading strategies is to look for empirical evidence, right? Look for strategies in which, even if it's not a strategy, like information about the markets and the way that markets tend to behave, that is empirical, that is backed up with data, and that you can investigate for yourself and verify are true. And that's the best way to find good information about trading. And then don't approach it from the very beginning of you're going to make this your day job, because it's not a realistic goal. It's not a realistic goal. And if you try and go to that goal from the start, probably what you're going to do is you're going to go and quit your job and start day trading and start out with $10,000 or something, and then immediately lose it and rip your hair out and maybe lose some relationships and stuff. So don't go and do that. Just go and start trading. This is the first thing. Start, make it a hobby. Start trading on sim and start learning how the market actually behaves. Go and do the legwork and find out what are some statistical properties about markets that we can verify are true. It's just as difficult as becoming a professional football player. You start as an amateur and maybe you can become a professional. Yeah, I would say it's almost even worse than that, right? It's like trying to become a professional football player by starting out day one playing against professional football players, right? Like, if the first time that you ever played football, well, you can't play it as a kid, so you wait until you're 18, and then the first time that you ever play football and you go and you play in the NFL, do you think you're going to learn a whole lot from it? You're probably going to get beat up, and you're going to think that you're learning a whole lot, but in reality, you're just going to continue to get your butt handed to you over and over again, right? Trading is a competitive sport where you really are being pitted, especially with futures trading. You really are being pitted directly up against, the best traders in the world doing this. And it's zero sum, so they can make money at your expense. I like what John Grady said. Pull up the DOMs and just watch them. Well, I don't know, man. That's the one thing about Grady that I'm not sure I agree with. Like, I do think that pulling up the DOMs and just watching them is a really valuable exercise, But the things that I've learned that were the most useful, I don't think I discovered just from looking at the DOM. In fact, I think that it was when I really started to branch out and started to read more sophisticated books and scholarly studies that I really made the key insights that were necessary. The thing that I remember very much about when I was really focused on the Grady style of trading, and don't get me wrong, you should have, if you haven't read his course, I 100% recommend his course, okay? But the thing that I was always coming into is I would be like, okay, I saw X thousand trade at this price. There's an iceberg. And like, what does that mean? Like, what's going on? Was somebody hedging here, or did somebody really want to buy it and they're trying to, like, why, what, how do you sort out in your mind what's happening? Can you repeat whose course? The nobsdaytrading.com course. It's like $80. Worthwhile read. Okay. Anyways, so you're seeing stuff on the dump and you're trying to construct a story in your head about what's actually happening or what actually happened. And when you start doing that, you often will come to this point where you realize that because there's two sides to every trade, there's like two stories to every trade, and you don't actually know for sure which one was actually playing out, which one was actually working. And so it always came back to like these questions about what's actually going on. And often these questions had to do about the market, like in general. Like one of the questions has always been in a lot of people's minds is, okay, if you buy, like what impact does it have? What kind of impact does everybody, collectively buying have, et cetera, et cetera? And how do you answer those questions? The reality is most retail traders don't know the answer to those questions, even the really advanced educator guys. But when you start getting into the scholarly literature and you read what the current evidence suggests, they have answers to those questions. And they have mathematical models that explain how the market tends to arbitrage statistical edges away. So now you know that, yes, actually, even the small retail traders have a measurable impact of some sort. And the collection of them together, when you start doing the calculations, under certain circumstances, certainly can have an impact on the market and move it to a value that it shouldn't. Right? The answers all of those questions. So I wouldn't have gotten those if I had stuck with the NoBS course. So I would say like the NoBS course is probably like your best resource when you're getting started. But to really be successful, I think you have to move past it. Has a lot of I wouldn't say that has superfluous concepts. It's just, the thing is he goes through and he explains the things that you'll see. We could probably categorize them a little bit better than he does and fill it out a little bit better. But do you think it is better to trade intraday or swing trade? Well, the way that you trade is going to depend very heavily on your goals and your abilities, right? So what I'm doing, I wouldn't necessarily call it swing trading, but I am kind of position trading. And that's because I think that where my edge comes from is largely from news. And so I want to be in trades a little bit longer, right? Than like a scalp. I have no abilities. Wow. But generally speaking, the longer that you are in, the more opportunity that you have to make money from it. Like the only thing that's really truly correlated to returns is amount of time in the trade. So from that perspective, you are more likely to make money. I wouldn't say you'd like make more or less or anything, just you're more likely to come out profitable if you are kind of more swing and position trading. Swing and position traders much higher percentage of them, I don't know, much might be 5%, but a higher percentage of them are profitable, but they're probably not beating the index or anything like that, right? Now, the split side is the scalping thing. Like, if you can figure scalping out, or market making out, so let's say like market making and arbitrage, if you can figure that out, then it's more consistent. That's the advantage over there, is you can get something that is really just, you come out most days, you can make some money. The disadvantage of that one is that it's so much more competitive. It's so much harder to find edge. You know, with one of the problems with Gary's course, because I think that everything that he teaches in there is very good information to know. I haven't taken the whole course or anything, but from what I know about it, I'd say it's a very good information to know. But the problem on that side is that you have to be in a fairly immature, inefficient market for it to work. Like, to try and do it over on the 10-year treasuries, you're going to have a very, very hard time, right? You have any books to read? So I have a video here on this channel where I recommend 5 books to start with. Anyone can swing the ES if you have a big account. Yeah, like that's the thing. You know, that's the other thing, is that I feel that the majority of retail traders that are, you know, scalping, the reason they're scalping is because of a lack of capital, and not because that would be what would best fit their skills and abilities, right? That's interesting that the treasury is, you know, it kind of feels like that they could make another attack at the high very, very easily, but the yields are not really coming, at least not in the 10 and the 30. So maybe the steepening is coming back a little bit. I'm looking at Optimus futures. Do you know anything about their algos? Well, it's basically, it's quant tower, and they have a little bit of extra risk management in there. I talk to Matt Z from Optimus from time to time, so I think he's really good. You got to remember that broker wise, like there's 2 things. Is like, one is broker often determines what platform you can use. So that's a big one. So I would go the route of deciding what platform you want the most first, then picking your broker from that. But then the other side of it is that, you know, the broker is basically there to help you if you are in a pinch, like your computer goes down, you have to call them, or you're having a platform issue. Like, they're like tech support is kind of what they do. Looking at AMP. Well, AMP is the cheapest. See, it's a hard sell, right? I don't envy the position of brokers. I don't know if I would want to go into the broker business, because it's like, you know, you have to provide a competitive price and still provide a good service to them. But that's what I don't think that everybody understands at the very beginning. That's really what you're looking at there, right? Like, you go to Optimus, you're going to pay a little bit more, but you get tech people that like really know what they're talking about. Whereas when I have to talk to the tech people at AMP, it's like I know more than them about it, you know. Just give me access and I would fix it, you know? Okay, so we're coming up close to, wow, that was a whole hour already, huh? We're actually coming up on the, I have financial juice on one, that might help too. We are coming up on the equities open, so we'll see here. Let's see here. Ben Rickard, Evergrande bonds are collapsing. It's equivalent to China's Lehman Brothers client crisis. Lehman Brothers was 60 billion. Evergrande is 300 plus billion. Their bonds were just lowered by a Chinese rating agency and are no longer able to access the repo market. Beijing won't bail them out. Oh, and by the way, Tether won't deny holding Chinese commercial paper. Jeez. I thought Ample was kind of basic, but well, they're all kind of basic. I don't know. The real difference between them is when you have to call them on the phone, the knowledge and effectiveness of the person that picks up the phone. Not that AMP is terrible, but I'm feeling sleepy now. I want to go to sleep. Even though I felt like I got to sleep at a pretty good time and everything. Are there examples of great traders that have never blown up? Probably not. Not retail traders. Yes, acting like it wants to turn down. I don't know. Well, let's just wait for the open before we try and predict what it's going to do. I just want to go to sleep. Dorman won't ACH it to AHC it into your account. Well, now that it's all moving over to NinjaTrader brokerage, my understanding is that it's all a lot better and easier for you and I. Try coffee breathing. No, I'm not gonna get coffee. I don't drink coffee. Don't have that in the house. Not a fan of Dorman. Well, Dorman is the Dorman is the for you European guys mostly, right? It should stand up. Man, Bitfinex and some of the anti-Bitcoin guys are like really chatty this morning. Bitfinex tweets, Coinbase has some of the highest fees in the business. Wonder why they keep needing to raise dirty fiat money when they use Bitcoin, the future of money. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't get we got in bed at like 9 o'clock, but then the baby didn't want to go to sleep and stuff. So well, J4 is not doing too shabby right now. The compulsion to just close my eyes and fall asleep is really strong. It's just so weird. Okay, so the treasury stepping up to that high of the day again a little bit. Or not high of the day, but regular session high at least. Yes, can be a meat grinder. I'm gonna bet you that it's gonna be pretty difficult this morning because, Friday was pretty ugly. So I think that the equity traders are going to want to trade, but you got to remember that CPI is tomorrow. So some of the bigger players might not be doing anything. You do not look like someone who's ready. I'm not. I'm not planning on taking any trades, at least not right now. Maybe after the E-mini gets going if I'm feeling a little bit better, but I just did not, I don't know what the deal is. So I woke up, everything was fine, but then I felt super hungry and then I ate and I had a hard time eating. Maybe it was just what I was eating. I'm tired of it. So I had this egg casserole. Maybe I was just tired of the egg casserole. I don't know. And oatmeal. I was able to chew down the oatmeal eventually, but it was just like it was really hard for me to eat, even though I felt like I was really hungry. Greg says CPI tomorrow. Thank you, Seth. Yes. So yeah. That's why at the very beginning we went and we fixed up our little text to speech thing so that Win can give us those automated messages. By the way, E-mini started up here. So as he happen. FX Macro tweets that Walmart intends to give its shoppers the opportunity to make payments with cryptocurrencies. Let's see. I'm a little skeptical about that one. Major partnership with Litecoin. Well, that was certainly going to make Litecoin shoot up. That could probably make Litecoin. Litecoin might be in a position to shoot up quite a bit here. Because Litecoin has kind of fallen down the hierarchy a lot, hasn't it?
Market is open. Stay profitable traders and please hit the like button if you haven't yet. Thanks.
16th. Litecoin is 16th now. Just above Bitcoin Cash. You need to announce a partnership with Garlic Coin. Gosh dang it. Hasn't it been the case that Litecoin has kind of struggled ever since its creator basically bailed on it? Yeah. Oh, okay, it's done it well in 2022, though. It made a new high, 400. And it's at 187. Though it looks like it's already taken off. Buy coin, make announcement, you'll start accepting coins for payments. Coin gets pumped, dump coin. Could be. I would highly doubt that Walmart does that, but what's going to happen is they're going to start doing it, and then they're going to find all sorts of problems with it. It's just like this, how this always goes. Litecoin might be okay, I guess, because I don't think that their blockchain is like filled, but okay, so a little slip there in ES. That one doesn't seem like that was significant. ES kind of flattening out there a little bit when it happened though. Is anyone mining or mining a few altcoins with your solar farm? Oh, that's interesting. I haven't been mining much lately, but I have done quite a bit of mining in my day. Equity indexes looking a little scary here. Looks like Jay's got a little runner here. Pay with Litecoin option is to start October 1st. A news squawk tweets regulators right now. Oh my gosh, it's happening. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. I don't know if that is a problem for regulators, though, that they would use it. Although that just brings me back to this whole issue with Coinbase's lending platform. Oh my gosh. Did you guys see what happened on my TikTok with that? So I think it was Friday. I saw somebody talking about the whole Coinbase lawsuit. So for those of you that aren't familiar with it, Coinbase wanted to create basically a lending platform where they would lend you, where you would lend them your dollar stable coin that Coinbase has and hold it in your savings account, and they would pay you like a 4% yield, right? So it's basically a savings account, but it's not because they're not a bank, right? In order for you to do that sort of a product, you have to be a bank. So instead, what it becomes a bond. You are giving them money in exchange for a yield, and the money that you make is going to depend on the efforts of other people, which means it's a security. So they said, no, you can't offer it like this. It's a security. And so the Coinbase CEO flipped out and went on a big Twitter tirade about it. So everybody, all of the crypto, it's really like cult-like behavior. Like they don't question it at all. They just go, oh, the SEC is going after this. They're so evil. Well, the SEC is right. So I made a video. So I went out. I was just searching for somebody to tweet, right? Like, or to what is the word, to stitch, right? It's just searching for somebody to switch. I came across this guy that was like really, oh guys, we all need to buy Coinbase's stock so that they can fight back against the evil SEC. So I stitch it, which is where you take a little section of their video and then you put your own section after it. No, because it doesn't matter how much money you give them, they're going to lose, because there's just no reasonable reading of the law here that says anything other than that if you're going to do bank things, you have to be a bank and you have to be regulated like a bank. And his argument back was like, well, OJ won because he had the best lawyer. Because he must be telling people he's the best lawyer. That's his thing, is he's a lawyer. So the thing that was really funny, though, was that he wanted to respond, but TikTok doesn't allow you to stitch stitches, right? Probably so that you don't get this extended back and forth sort of stuff, right? Well, he didn't know that. So he was all upset and like made a video duetting me, like going, why, well, turn on stitches so that I can stitch this. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, know how to use the platform. Like, it doesn't work that way. And like, under what reading could you possibly imagine that it'd be okay? Man, Walmart is really going. Well, how much is it? It's almost 20%. 29%. $10 on the drop. Now, how come? Oh, because he got out. Robot J has made about 5 points so far. So, I don't know. Maybe this robot, maybe I should go and put this robot on a combine. He's doing pretty good for the first day. And that was even like the naive implementation. So the problem with this guy is that if he takes one the wrong way, he's just going to eat it. Oh, in fact, that's what's going on right now. He is bought, and it is just careening against him. I should probably, well, there's a couple of things I can do for him, but I'm not going to worry about it. Like one of the things here is that Jay is like always in. He only stops and reverses. So there's certain problems with that, right? This Walmart thing is going to be interesting. And is this going to bump the rest of the cryptocurrency space? Well, I can see Ethereum and Bitcoin both taking a pretty good move. Bitcoin has moved from 4,400 to 4,600 now. This really sounds like something that could be a good short-term catalyst, like they'll like that. And it's definitely like actual use of the coin is good. So Litecoin, yeah, could be a good buy here. What could they get to? Well, they could definitely get to a new all-time high at the very least in Litecoin, if they're not already there right now. I'm falling asleep, man. It's still like this just overwhelming, I want to fall asleep and close my eyes feeling, even though I'm talking and I'm bouncing my leg and stuff. Like, my chemicals must be all messed up. Anyone doing index inclusion? Are we having an index rebalancing here? There's somebody on Twitter already pointing out, yeah, if you had just bought as soon as I tweeted, you could have made money. Probably even if you bought Litecoin right now. I mean, I don't have any money on the exchange, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But if you bought Litecoin right now, I think you could probably still make a good trade off of it. September 20th is date of inclusion. Gotcha. Now, part of why I might be so sleepy is because it is a little warm in this room. The AC just turned on for me, though, so. Sleepy, sleepy, sleep. This must be something to do with my medication, man. This is not normal. No, you mean you don't turn back down again? It's okay. I know that I should be doing this. But I'm happy just because it did take the trade to where I wanted it to. Do you want to see the chart? I'll show you the chart. Seems pretty good. Seems like I should have made more on this, but whatever. Now it's losing because it's been long from here, 70 to 62. That's a pretty ugly value short. Oh man, I almost fell asleep right there, man. Yeah, inclusion into the index can definitely be a strong impetus for stock. The message is really... Wait, what was I just saying? I just like totally lost my train of thought. Oh, if you know that it's going to be included in the index, or you can predict that, that can be some of your best trade, right? So it's like guaranteed orders inclusion into the index. Litecoin dragging everything else up with it. Bitcoin up 3%. It's actually a little surprising that Walmart would do that, don't you think? As it clears this 15 minutes. Oh, by the way, you sent me a picture. Ooh, you made some money this time. Explain to me though, why that so much today and not as much the other days? Made my trades a bit longer. Well, there you go. Seth always with the why questions. Why not? Wait, what did I ask why about? Did I just fall asleep there? I found that if I catch the US at midnight UK time or 7 a.m., I get a really good move in it. Yeah. Well, you're picking up on a time where there tends to be some volume, right? I wish I get 2-hour trades. Well, you maybe could. Okay, E-mini trying to turn it around here. So see, here's the problem, is that Jay is not going to close his trade until he gets a short signal, right? He doesn't take profits or targets or anything like that. He's just stop and reverse. He might get one here soon, though. He looks like they might get one a little bit. He'll probably make a little bit off of it. Oh man, I need to come in, now that I've changed it and I've got it actually doing live what I want it to. I should go and run it on the back test and see what it actually does, because I bet you that the average winner and average loser are really awful. Like, this strategy is going to have a lot of adverse excursion on it. We'll just be like, okay, whatever. Oh, I need to minimize this a little bit. Oh, he's almost break even. No, I drifted off to sleep there for a little bit. Yeah. Ace, you need to use the $ there. You haven't tried it yet. Put a $sign in front of one of your messages. No, I just realized all this and I was like, wait. I'm falling asleep here. Heart attack. No,
Ace Trade says wake the hell up.
Works. Good job. So right now it's on a whitelist. So don't you all go in and thinking that you'll do it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that up so that you guys can do like once every 5 minutes or something like that.
Ace Trade says Ace's wife is so hot.
Bloomberg tweets, Bloomberg's energy consumption has already surpassed 2020's level and is on course in 2021 to equal all of the power consumed in Pakistan. She missed it, so I'm doing it again.
Ace Trade says Ace's wife is so hot.
My brief glances confirm that. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. So when I get like this, it's probably a chemical thing, right? So sometimes Straterra can make me feel sleepy like that. Sometimes, but the Adderall wouldn't. And I did still take the Adderall this morning, and I think I got to bed fairly early, so I don't know what's causing this. This isn't the first time that I've been like this before, but we should just make a note of it somewhere. I need to start like a journal of these sorts of things. Falling asleep literally while I'm talking to you guys. You know what the thing though is that when you get something, when I'm getting that chemical imbalance or whatever it is that causes it, I only have to be asleep for like a moment, and it's like the chemicals come back and it's fine. It kind of looks to me, by the way, in the E-mini, that they're trying to dig it out, but that for the moment they're having a little bit of difficulty doing it. Wow. Okay, so when I look at it like that, it seems really, really clear, right? You've got a lot of market buy orders, but they weren't able to overcome the drop yet. Like there's more buy orders than there were sell orders on this dip down, but it hasn't reached a higher price because of liquidity. That's very unusual. I think that based on what we know, that we should be more likely to see them move higher. So that they didn't is a little unusual. But we don't know if there's like more orders coming in or not. I am noticing that the treasury is kind of looks a little I can't correlate it up with the Bitcoin news. Walmart announces major partnership with Litecoin LTC. Did we actually did get the release from Walmart, right? You must have some Wall Street medicine cooking. No, I don't know what causes it. It has something to do with norepinephrine. Like it's like your brain runs out of the norepinephrine and crashes. Let me check Bloomberg here. Oh, okay. I don't actually see it on the Bloomberg page. I would have thought Coinbase raised $1.5 billion in bond sale. Huh. Falling asleep is my superpower. I go right to REM and cycle. Okay, so why isn't that story on Bloomberg? It's not on CNBC either. Maybe they're just slow. Okay, is this story fake? Larry C-Mac, either way, someone is getting scammed, but this is the most unsure I've been about potential fake news in a while. It has all the red flags possible, but Walmart hasn't denied yet, and Litecoin account tweeted it. WalmartCorp.com, the email domain used in the press release, was registered last month and doesn't go to any official website. This might be worth selling. If I had the money. Well, it's not if I had the money. If I had it on the exchange. I had it on the exchange. Sell Walmart? I want to die in my sleep like my grandpa, not screaming like 4 passengers in his car. Oh, man. I heard a funny story last night on TikTok. Which one was it? There was a couple of them. I can't remember what it was. Oh, yes. Okay, I remember the story now. Okay. So there's this guy, and he has a female roommate. So his mom suspects that he's sleeping with the female roommate. So she wants to come over for dinner and investigate. So she comes over for dinner, and the son, sensing that, the mom is really there because he thinks that he's sleeping with his roommate, he says, "Mom, look, I know what you're thinking, but we're just roommates. We're not sleeping together." Okay. So the mom is like, "Okay," and she leaves. And a few days go by. The mini unhappy about that one, eh? A few days go by, man. Jay is just gonna eat this hardcore. It's gonna suck for him. Okay. A few days go by, and the roommate comes to the guy and says, "Hey, do you know where my silver plate is? I can't find it. And it's been gone ever since your mom was here. So do you think your mom would have taken it?" And the guy is like, "Of course not." Like, hold on a second. Okay, this Walmart thing might flip around. This might get really ugly and funny. Okay, anyways, so the son decides to call his mom. And he says, "Mom, I'm not saying that you did take the plate, and I'm not saying that you didn't take the plate. All I'm saying is that the plate has been gone since you were here. So if you've seen it or you know anything about it, please let me know." Right? And his mom texts back almost immediately, and he says, "Son, I'm not saying that you are sleeping with your roommate, and I'm not saying that you aren't sleeping with your roommate, but I put the silver plate under her bed, under her pillow, and if she was really sleeping in her own bed, she would have noticed that by now." Yeah, and that's the story. Humano says Walmart hired crypto people on the past, but at least 3 senior folks I know resigned. Maybe their project is going slow, so they decided to partner with Lite. No, that was the whole story. Do you get it? The mom got them. She hid the silver plate underneath of the roommate's pillow, and the roommate noticed the plate was gone, but didn't find it under her pillow because she wasn't sleeping in her own bed because she's sleeping with the guy. Oh, tell the rest. And it's like, okay. Litecoin verified account deletes tweet on Walmart fact. Oh, this is gonna get so funny. Oh, I hope that none of you guys bought that. Bail. Now I'm almost half tempted to pull it up. No, I'm not going to. It'll be too much. By the time I pull it up, it won't be interesting anymore. E-mini unhappy with this news, my friends. Look at that. Bitcoin, Ethereum pushing lower now. Completely retraced. Oh my gosh. So you see this? Oh my gosh. Oh, this is going to be so ugly. Oh man. Forex Live tweets Litecoin is giving it back. This would be the spoof of the decade. Yep. And now many other people suggesting that it is a hoax as well. You know what? If this is really a fake story, you have any idea? Like, if this is really a fake story, this goes from like the best news that Bitcoin could ever have to like the worst news that Bitcoin could ever have. That kind of a manipulation. Oh, juicy, man. And like Bitcoin is in a hard spot, like, because they've fallen off of that Coinbase thing, right? And fears of regulation and everything. Yeah, it could get so if I really wanted Jay to just stop and reverse, what do you think? Should I just put a stop on him? I don't know. So we've done this a couple of times. Like, I have some strategies that like you do stop and reverse. Works. I actually bet you that if you did stop and reverse on this guy, that it will come out profitable, actually. We really need to test it. But the issue is just that like you'll take a loss, individual losses bigger than you want. Like the Sharpe ratio of it is terrible. So how do you fix that up? You just put stops in there, but that might just prevent it from being profitable altogether. I don't know. Or you could just have set targets and everything. News Squawk tweets, the Fed will need to step in if this Litecoin crisis gets any worse. Oh my gosh, guys. Bitfinex with what everybody is thinking. Bitcoin prices aren't manipulated. Oh my gosh, look at that chart. Oh man. He doesn't have a stop. J4 doesn't have a stop right now. He had one before. I just wanted to verify that he was catching the right spots, and so I wanted to just have it take every single little one and then see have it hold it. So I knew that there was this possibility of like it takes a long and then it's wrong and it keeps going against him. But it also kind of tells us something really interesting about the S&P 500 right now, right? Because he's trading off of the volume, and you can see it over here, right? What did he do? He went short. He went long. He went short again. And then I think right here he went long, right? So like we're getting the volume that is buying, but we are not getting higher price. At least not from, the futures. Right. So the question is, what's the best way to kind of handle that, right? Is it to just have a stop so that, that last one he would just stop out and get out? Or maybe even go short again? I don't know. Or just have set targets and everything. I don't know. For like a simple moving average, for instance, what gives you the most profit, at least, is to just hold it. So, I don't know. I don't know. The treasuries are moving higher, guys. Tell him to only take trades in one. Well, yeah. So I think what I eventually want to do is to add filters and stuff so that like he'll use those, if it got up to that top part where it would go short, it would just exit instead of going short. And based on other things, it wouldn't take it. So, for instance, the level 2, for instance, as an additional filter to the level 2. But I was just thinking around with it because it wasn't actually. But from that first component, it wasn't taking them where I wanted it to. And now I've kind of sorted things out, and I think that I've got a better set up there for that. So. We shall see. To that point, though, then how big of a loss should he take? Well, what we got to do is we got to back test it, and we can see what the average winner and loser is and everything, and we could try putting it based off of all that, but we'll see. Anyways, it's just an experiment, successful experiment. We will change him today. I will do some back testing and see what we come up with. The treasury is moving higher as equity indexes continue to plunge. Should have gone short over here, man, in the 10-year. It was not really anything that ever crossed my mind because I, again, didn't feel right. Coming in, I didn't feel right. Watching this Litecoin thing, though, certainly woke me up, didn't it? In 7 days, it will rebound. The cryptocurrencies? I don't know. So here's the thing, is that my metrics suggest that the run is already over. I think that it's manipulated, so like they could definitely try and jumpstart it earlier, but you get something like this, and this comes out to be a proven hoax, like it's gonna be so ugly. Forex Live tweets evidence mounting that the Litecoin release spoofed global news wires. Somehow, Litecoin is still above water. Only one certainty will come from this, and that is the fact that those pushing for more regulations just got buckets of additional ammo. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Well, the Treasury is backed off there a little bit, so that kind of suggests that they went a little too far. We'll see if the mini comes back here. So the one of the big issues here is that he's gonna hold on to this until like we get a swing back up and it comes back to like a overbought location. So we'll see how much he actually loses from it. And it's gone. Well, if you ever needed evidence that news moves markets. Oh, ABC Trader showing me one of his indicators and is bouncing at one of his levels. As a good example, but you know what I don't understand, dude, is some of the indicators that you've shown me look like really advanced. Like you're doing some pretty funky machine learning type stuff in there. But you don't backtest it. Like, why aren't you making strategies to see how often it really actually bounces at that line? Do quant models account for uninformed flows? Well, I think that the idea with a quant model is that they're looking for, that they should be able to read the flow and come up with, like I think that if I was running a quant model, they would have seen something like that. They'd say, here's a move with a high possibility of informed trading on it, so I don't want to take the fills. And then maybe it would, as soon as it come back down, it would reduce its inventory. And Democrats release details of proposed tax increase. LTC just 187 to everyone? What does that mean? Went up to 187 and then flipped around? He's showing me another one. Dude, backtest it. Right? The only way to really make anything that's useful, I do have bots. So if you have a bot that trades off of that specific thing, then show me the stats from it. If someone loses a trade, they complain. Well, sure, but that's not the question. The question is, if you fade that line every time, how often does it turn around with a given risk reward parameters, right? So you back test it and you show it over however far back as you can do, and you should be able to show that, hey, actually it does turn at my line like 60% of the time. And if you could prove that it turned at your line 60% of the time, that would be like a really significant result. That would be like a you could go get published kind of result, right? $30 points. You've been short this whole time, Ace? It's unfortunate that Jay decided to go long. He will hold on through this, I'm sure. I feel like just cutting him off. I feel like just disabling him, but it's kind of funny to watch it do this, I guess. I want to know like when it comes back up. It's like printing money. Well, oh dear, my other machine turned on. What's this? From Taleb. Fooled by correlation, common misinterpretations in social science. Let's see. Litecoin does that. David Faber says that Walmart has now confirmed that the press release is fake. Who mama? How does market making work, and does it work? Well, market making is basically like arbitrage, right? You have the spot in the line, and you know, based off of correlated assets, whether the current price is fair or not, and you use that to determine whether or not you want to take fills, and you take into account the order flow that's coming in, so that if you get enough of volume coming in, you pull your orders and increase your spread to account for the probability of informed trading. And that's the gist of how a market making algorithm works. I shouldn't have balled that away. Bitcoin now moving lower. Ethereum getting hammered. I mean, it looks like they're trying to dig out here in the equity indexes, but they're just not having much success, are they? Hats off to the folks that pulled that up. You've got to respect the hustle, talking about the Litecoin thing. Is that a dump? They dump a bunch of shares off of that? Oof, it could be ugly, man. Yes, still looking sad. Treasury's still kind of hanging out near the top there. Walmart says it is trying to learn more about the news release. This is gonna be funny, man. Man, what? How can I make a TikTok about this? I need to make a TikTok about this. Yes, Monday dull after dull trading. Then we get this hyper fast rotations with slow getting short. So use Monday range days. Well, I kind of wonder though, Greg, like, how much of this is like real reason for them to trade, and you know what I mean? How much of this is Walmart? Walmart is not a trivial component, right? All this nonsense could be leading to some volatility. You went short and now I'm long. And yes, I think if you twisted my arm, I would have to say long in the yes. I tell you what, I'll do it over here in my sim account. Yeah, it's TikTok and YouTube short, yeah. Maybe I'll just make a joke about the efficient market hypothesis like I usually do. Forex Live says this has gone from a big boast to the crypto space to another example of the skeptics of how it's used by criminal scammers. Yep. Well, whoever did that should be pursued by the law for market manipulation, right? They'll lock them up. Yeah. Somebody's gonna catch up. I'm sure that they'll pursue this guy and make an example of him. Oh, they ticked down without me? Why in the world would you get long ES? I mean, I don't know. I think it looks kind of attractive here to me. You don't think so? You think it's going to keep going lower? I suppose that I don't think that it's going to it's going to completely retrace here or anything. I just think we're going to get a little pullback, I guess. Feeling the sleepiness again. Okay, CNBC tweeted it. But you see, it didn't make the thing that kind of made me pause was okay, why isn't it on the front page of Bloomberg and CNBC yet? It should be. We are a boring audience? No, it's just that sometimes futures trading is boring. And sometimes it's so boring that even I can't stay awake. That was today. Imagine if it was CPI today, right? Just think about that one. Tomorrow's CPI. I actually think CPI is going to come close to inline. I mean, the PPI was. I don't think we're going to get any crazy surprises in CPI. Those Democrats float 26.5 top corporate rate in tax blueprint. Ugh. What'd you got here, analytic? Conclusion of standard S&P 500 futures and options trading. As announced on May 4th and subject to regulatory review, the CME Group will delist its standard size futures and options on futures contracts on the standard. Oh, they're getting rid of the full size ES. The E-mini suite of futures and options on the S&P 5 index will continue to meet the trading and risk management needs of customers. Oh, I gotta feel cool. All right. How bad do you think this will be? For wrong. You know what? Jay ate a pretty good loser there, but like, it's not a disaster yet. Like, it's just it went just to the spot where like I would want to puke, and now. What if I set him up with like a 20-point target and 20-point stop, you know? It's okay to trade along, but you should know where to bail if the trade fails. Yeah. Profitable futures trading requires resilience to boredom. Yeah. Well, it requires persistence for sure, right? Like it really is. When I look at the beginning, when I first was started and people would say all of these things, and I was like, yeah. When you all say that, it's fine. It's not a problem for me. Yeah. But like the further along I go, the more I'm like, okay, see why they were always talking about this stuff, because most beginners really do just expect to trade for like a month and then be making money hand over fist. Okay, so the treasuries do seem to be reacting quite a bit to movement in the S&P 500. Data shows COVID booster shots not appropriate at this time, U.S. and international scientists say. LRUC Mac tweets, the top list of publications that got scammed: CoinDesk, Decrypt, Lockwork, CNBC, Reuters, Zero Hedge, Bloomberg Terminal. Oh, of course they all got scammed. Nobody, well, you know what? I didn't have the ability to go and verify that. I'm actually a little bit mad that they basically got pished, right? It was from WalmartCorp.com, and so they didn't question it. But in reality, they got pished. And of course, there's no way for me to verify it because I didn't get the email. By the way, some of the bearishness in the S&P 500 could also be because of the Democrats wanting to raise taxes on corporations. That never makes the index happy, right? Even though it seems like the tiny story right now. Might be the one that actually matters. For those of you confused, here's the press release. Okay. There is a very professional looking press release. Media William White at WalmartCorp.com. So you guys can send all of your mean hate mail to William White at WalmartCorp.com if you lost money on the Litecoin pump and dump. Whew. Should we read what Reddit is saying? Let's go to the Bitcoin subreddit. Why did the dogs all of a sudden think they should be allowed out early in the morning? AO says he's short. Well, unless this trade over here might be like incredibly terrible, but it's just kind of a gamble. It's kind of a gamble. Let's admit that, right? Remember when Amazon wasn't adopting Bitcoin? Now Walmart isn't adopting Litecoin. Oh, that's right. It's like the same scam. Okay, so there's 6 comments on this one. Anything funny? Helped along by some truly atrocious reporting from Reuters. Wah, 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 wah. I think it's the Jackson 5. You think the Jackson 5 is the largest employer in the US? Does the Jackson 5 employ enough people that they will be subject to the new federal vaccine mandate? You know, what I think is kind of funny is that this federal vaccine mandate seems like a really big deal, but I don't actually see it discussed that much on social media right now. Outside of the Donald, of course, the Donald, they're just obsessed with it. That website has become almost useless because all they ever talk about is that they don't want to take the vaccine, and I kind of wonder if the activity over there is actually organic. I'm starting to think that most of it is like Russians or something. That was sarcastic. Everyone knows it's the Osmonds. No, we're talking nationally, not just in Utah. Facebook activity isn't organic, same with Twitter. Well, no, I'm that's different. So, like, the thing is that Facebook and Twitter, they at least try to detect bots and trolling sort of stuff and put an effort behind trying to, stop it. But I don't think that Patriots.win does anything of that sort. So it could be the case that entire website is completely dominated by Russian trolls for all we know. Right? Now, how would you know? How would you know? Because I don't know. Okay, RJ. The vaccine should be a choice, not a requirement. Here's the thing that I think is really funny about all of this, is that way back in the beginning of all of this, all of these people, Joe Biden, like all of them said, yeah, it should be a choice. Like, they're not going to require you to get it. I don't wonder if even Ace might have said that. Who knows? Probably not. Eston looks so hot over here in the treasury, does it? But that might be, so there might be somebody along here and they're still trying to get out, and so they're trying to put this squeeze on them. But if the E-mini turns back up much more, they're probably going to have to give it up. Russian trolls, why would you even suppose there are Russian trolls on a website? Well, because they were the ones that we have evidence of them trolling in the past. So I'm just asking, why is that website so obsessed with it and nobody else seems to care? It's a pretty big iceberg there. Vaccines are far more risky than seatbelts and helmets. Okay, I guess the probability of an adverse effect from a seatbelt is basically 0, and the probability of adverse effects from a vaccine is like 0.0001 or something. So I suppose that your claim is technically correct. To be fair, though, not many people get injured from the vaccine. It's pretty darn low, the adverse side effects from it. Forex Live tweets that Litecoin itself tweeted it out is going to cause them a world of problems with the SEC. Did he finally get it out? Oh, you did get out of it. Okay, cool. See, those are the ones for you, Ace, that you should put the $sign in front of them. So here's a question. Here's the one that I've been wondering, because Joe Biden is putting this vaccine mandate on and everything. Why is it that the unions negotiated that it wouldn't apply to them? Why is it that it doesn't apply to Congress or the people that Congress is employing? Here's the thing. I think that a lot of people have been fooled here. This isn't about public safety or anything like that. It's a political maneuver to try and rally the Democrat base. Because you see, the Democrats want to claim that they are about, it used to be that they're about liberty and all of these sorts of things. Of course, now all of a sudden, they're the party that are restricting constitutional rights and things. And why is that? What is there some sort of, it seems almost random when they support that sort of a thing and when they don't. Where does it come from? I can explain it. The modern day left is primarily about opposing all of the things that they felt religion was preventing them from doing that they wanted to do. That's really what it comes down to for most Democrats. You say that they're communists. Hear me out. The true cultural driving factor behind liberals and the Democrat Party, the modern day, is anti-Christianity. And so if there was there used to be stories about these really far-right Christian sects that you couldn't get vaccinated, you couldn't accept any kind of medical treatment, and that's not okay. And so they were always against those. And so that's why they're totally willing to go with the government on the vaccine mandate thing, because in their culture, that would be the anti-religious thing to do, is to force them to get vaccinated and to prevent them from meeting together when there's a pandemic, right? I think you'll find. So same thing, like if you have bodily autonomy, how come you don't have the bodily autonomy to not take a vaccine? Because it harms other people. Well, like abortion kind of harms other people. I guess it depends on whether you consider it a person or not, but we could say that it's for the good of society that those children are born. Why is that not a good enough excuse? Well, because really what it comes down to is that they want to have sex outside of the bonds of marriage, and they don't want to have to suffer consequences from it. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's, in my opinion, the best explanation for why Democrats come down on certain issues. No, nobody's saying anything about that. So that either means that you either really, really agree with me, or I'm like way far off the plot. This little bit of a recovery in the E-mini is looking pretty okay. Dollar Chad says I'm reflecting on it, and Caleb says I agreed and hated Christianity. So how far has Bitcoin fallen? Well, so they are recovering back up a little bit, but they're just at 4,400. So I would say that the decline is not so bad. Walmart just reiterating the press release about Litecoin is not authentic. We don't accept cryptocurrencies in the United States. Spock says the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. Difference in philosophy. Well, yeah, you'd think that that's the thing though. Is that the common thread that you hear is that the difference between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party right now is in collectivism, essentially. That Democrats are more collectivist and think that public policy should be, what helps people the most, and Republicans are in favor of more individualism. But this is not always the case, right? For instance, in the past, like 20 years ago at least, Democrats were the ones that were all concerned about free speech. Democrats were the ones that were saying, hey, you're not allowed to just stop people on the street and search them, even if it makes us more safe, which is a correct interpretation of the Constitution. But the Republicans were the ones that were saying to do it, not the Democrats. So how do you explain that? So here again, I think that it's a good example is that the Democrats opposed it because it was George Bush. And how did George Bush come to power? Because he was voted in by evangelical Christians. So they hated George Bush because he was hyper-religious, right? It's kind of, you can even see it in Donald Trump's term that because Donald Trump wasn't overtly religious, but they were always trying to turn it into a religious thing. And then in the end, he did turn it into a religious thing. And he, with that church that it got burned down across the street and everything. I'm telling you, and the reason I came to this conclusion is because I live in an area that is very, very strongly dominated by religious opinions. And when it comes to culture, that's all anybody can think about. So you get, when I look at Ace seems to be really apt to want to, if somebody starts talking about religion, point out that God doesn't exist. And I'm like, well, why does he care so much? Well, it's because he grew up in Utah. He grew up in Utah and it was a big deal. To him, it's a big deal. It's just kind of been ironed into your brain, that's the key cultural issue, right? And in Utah in particular, one of the ones that really matters is that the LDS church is still very staunchly, you only have sex inside the bounds of marriage, right? So almost anything when it comes down to not only sex and childbirth rights, but transsexuals, gender roles, the differences between men and women, right? And the Democrat Party is kind of getting into all of these things that are really beyond science, there's 200 genders and things like that, and trying to redefine gender away from the definitions that come from your chromosomes, because gender is not a societal construct. I'm sorry, but it's caused because there's a difference in the genes. I don't want to go into that, proving that argument, but just for the sake of explaining here. Why do the Democrats come down on all of the sides of all of those things? It's because it's anti-Christianity. Those were all of the things that Christianity believed in, so they are trying to fight against all of those things, and in particular the gender roles that they felt were imposed by Christianity. Object to the harm that false, really, yeah, but like that's the whole thing, is that in your mind, the harm that false beliefs from religion causes is this huge monster. Where the 10-minute close, do you want to include God? No. No, we're talking about Litecoin, man. Litecoin pumping doing what should we say? Litecoin pump and dump. Fools markets. Well, yeah, there you go. Chad says, however, any belief system can be used in this way, including Democrat theory. Yeah. Like the issue is that because of the way that humans evolved, and that they were very tribal, and that the thing that evolution seemed to select for was group cohesion. That group cohesion was more likely to lead to survival. At least that's the evolutionary psychology explanation for it. That's still a theory, but I think it's a pretty solid theory. And so humans have all of these behaviors built into them that are meant to enforce group cohesion. If somebody is there and they're not being cohesive, they're basically leaving the religion, then you've got to kick him out because it's a threat to your society. Like, it makes you weak. That might be a real threat to you. They might defect and go to the other tribe's religion down the road and then do something to harm you. And because they were a former insider, they might be able to help. They might be able to really, really hurt you, right? So we naturally overfocus on these things. Sounds almost like the same rules in Kabul. Anyways, but that's why I'm saying it's not just religion in general. It's any kind of belief system that becomes the basis for a group of people can be abused in this way, and will have the tendency to go down that path. Dow on a tear. E-Man is doing pretty okay. The robot hasn't made his money back yet, but he's still in it. We got up to a pretty high point where maybe he would have tried taking a short in the 64 area, but it wasn't quite enough to get there. It's all about power. Well, you know, that's the thing is like it's a what is the word, you know? It's like our psychology gone awry. It's our psychology gone awry. So this is where I really feel that the Democrat Party is in trouble, and that the United States is in trouble, frankly, because the two-party system worked, and there was a lot of good things about the two-party. I'm a really big proponent of the two-party system. The two parties can change, right? The two parties can change, and you know what? The Democrat Party, that was like the Democrat Party of JFK, is something that the United States needs, because the Republican Party, of George Bush Republican Party, was problematic. They did a lot of things that they should not have and that we're still living with. And the most disappointing and disturbing thing to me watching politics and growing up was when Obama essentially adopted all of those policies from the George Bush Republican Party. That was a real killer, because now both parties are aligned with this thing of basically taking away your privacy rights and getting into wars and stuff. That's not what we need. JFK Democrats were not today's Democrats, not even close. Exactly. And so you kind of ask, well, why has the Democrat Party strayed so far from the politics of JFK? And I argue it's because the Democrat Party became being more about being anti-Christian, that there was a cultural movement in our society away from religion, a very widespread move towards secularism since the 60s, 50s, and 60s. Well, starting in the 60s and until now, there's been a large movement away from religion and towards secularism. And the people that felt disaffected by religion attached to politics, essentially. You know, another example is that some of the most politically active people in Utah are politically active in terms of being anti-church. Like the same people that will go and do protests or like do a protest in favor of Black Lives Matters or in favor of Bernie Sanders in Utah are the same people that go and do a protest in front of the temple. So I wanted to see the Democrat Party get back to a set of ideals that are have actual value for the country. Not just collectivism. I mean, collectivism is a thing, but also like, actually being liberals, like real liberals again. Like the Bill Maher kind of liberal, please. The Bill Maher and the Matt Taibbi kind of liberals, like those guys, they need to there's going to be a Democrat civil war, and I hope I don't know, because it could be that the Democrat Party just like implodes. It could well be the case that like Joe Manchin and them join the Republicans, and there's a liberal wing of the Republican Party, and it's the socialists versus everybody else. It could come down to that. I'm libertarian in my heart. There's something that always really irks me is anytime you are supporting a conservative policy, or you're just supporting a policy based on economic effectiveness, saying that high taxes is not necessarily economically good. They always try and argue that you're a libertarian, and I am not libertarian at all. I think libertarianism is stupid. But whatever. New Squawk is saying a bunch of stuff here right now. It's something that I don't care about. It was news about a specific stock, so I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. You guys didn't try to, like, the thing is I expected you guys to try and counter what I just said, but maybe you have some good counters, and maybe you'll think of them while you're mulling about this tomorrow and come back tomorrow.
Time to say, stay profitable at speculators at day trading, and I hope you feel better later. Thanks, traders. Happy moon eyeing.
Yeah, well, I feel a lot better at the moment, so we shall see. Anyways, you know what? We didn't take any. Oh no, wait, we did take this one trade, right? Oops. We took this one sim trade. It kind of worked out, but I could have gotten a few ticks out of that. And maybe it'll come back down. But we sat on our hands and we fixed up our little program a little bit, and I think that improved the stream quite a bit. I'm really happy with it. So I'd call today a success. And it sounds like some of you guys did make some money. So, oh yeah, and Jay is kind of trading more of the way that I expected him to. So I can kind of move on to the next stage of that thing. So, hey, see you guys tomorrow for CPI, big news. So don't miss it. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.